this is my tier list of the comparative values of the terror zones. So in S+ tier, you have Tristram, one of the best farming spots in the game. Cow level is going to be disgusting. Talrosh's tombs are going to be disgusting. Travancore is going to be unfair. Chaos Sanctuary is slightly better. Like, the Chaos Sanctuary terrorized zone is actually just being carried by the fact that Chaos Sanctuary is so efficient. That's actually just the fact that Chaos Sanctuary is very, very strong. The Halls of Anguish and Pain on terror zones are going to be disgusting. The density in there, you have flares in there. It's gross. It's gross. It's so gross. It's going to be so good. Worldstone Keep, already S tier farming, terrorized, gets it slightly better. The reason why this bumps up so much is mostly due to experience, because it's already an S tier, but getting level 96 base monster experience off of full clearing an entire room full of flares is going to be disgusting. Absolutely gross. In the S tier, Rocky Waste, Stony Tomb. Stony Tomb's already an S tier place. Rocky Waste is also going to be pretty nice now. And just everything being higher level, that just gets an XP bump. But Rocky Waste was already a fine place to farm on the way to Stony Tomb. So you made Stony Tomb better, and you made Rocky Waste monsters on the way to Stony Tomb better. Easy S tier. Arcane Sanctuary is like the only place that you can farm where you get higher rune drop rates and a key boss and 9 super chests. Seems good. Flare Jungle Flare Dungeon. Now, the only reason why this isn't S+ tier is finding the Flare Dungeon will be challenging, and the Flare Dungeon is dangerous, and mobility in the Flare Dungeon is restricted. With that being said, Flare Dungeon has ghosties, flares, dolls. Dolls are the scary part, but you have better rune drop rates, massive density on the way as well. If you really want, you can never turn in the Gidbin, and then you can pop the Gidbin every time you get to the Flare Dungeon for an additional boss pack. You got Stormtree, Wood Smash Fist, whatever his name is. Phenomenal zone. Phenomenal zone. River of Flame, you just farm the bridges. You just go over the bridge. You don't even have to go backwards. You just go over the bridges. Get all your elites there, save and exit. Gonna be super. It might be S+ tier. I think the only reason why it's not S+ tier is because the monster types have really high res, and you also get Oblivion Knights there, so it is a bit dangerous. And you can get like nasty spawners with grotesques and maggots, and those just kind of suck and don't get you anything. But River of Flame, super good. Something that we have to think about is that in a terrorized zone, monsters being minimum level 96 once you're high enough means that every fallen camp that you find, where it's just a bunch of fallen running around, where you can, on any player settings, one-shot 30 monsters, is wild. You're also going to have Bishy Boss spawning. The other monsters in the area are very easy to kill, so you have the Lancers, Dark Ladies, and Gargantuans. Gargantuans are worth a ton of experience. The ladies fall over very quickly, and you have a lot of just shaman packs walking around. The cave, level 2, very small, very easy to just clear that out very quickly. You get a sparkly chest. Cave level 1, you also get super unique Cold Crow. Forgotten Tower, obviously good, a lot of ghosts. You get the Countess at the end. The only problem is that there are a lot of tile spawn monsters in the Forgotten Tower, which is nice. You may get more elites than you typically would, and you have super chests throughout it. Mobility is such a huge problem. Getting through the Forgotten Tower easily, just challenging. Just challenging, really huge on hell difficulty. Just bad on anybody who doesn't have teleport. So that's why it takes a hit. That's why I don't think it's S tier, but probably like highest A tier in the area, other than maybe the jail. Jail's super good. You have a super unique in there. You have a lot of tile spawn. So even if you didn't hit a lot of elites on the way, there are so many tile spawn elites in the jail that it's almost unfair. That means you also have really high chances of running into champ fallens, which champion packs are worth 5 times experience. If it is a minion style champion pack like Fallen, every monster in it is worth 5 times experience, even the little minions. So all of those being monster level 98, giving 5 times experience on players 8, you're gonna be level 99 in days, as opposed to months. Dry Hills and the Halls of the Dead. Halls of the Dead has a waypoint that goes directly into it. Dry Hills has a waypoint that goes directly into it. Dry Hills monsters are typically very easy to kill, except for Leapers, which are kind of lame. But in the Halls of the Dead, you have really high density, especially with Unraveler packs with their Burning Dead minions. so you'll be able to pop those very easily. You have a super unique at the end that you can very easily get to. Halls of the Dead is going to be pretty nice. Halls of the Dead might actually overperform, I'm just not sure. Fire Oasis Maggot Lair is being hard carried by Fire Oasis. So you have a super unique, you have Beetle Burst in Fire Oasis, you also have wide open area that you don't need teleport. You can spawn Itchies, which are very easy to kill in mass, Raptors, which are very easy to kill in mass, and then you have Beetles, Beetles being one of the best XPs in the game, as well as Champion Beetles spawning with minions are again all worth 5 times experience. They also fixed the bug where dual enchanted monsters or monsters that trigger an effect are no longer double casting both of their Nova effects with invisible charge bolts and invisible Novas, so now it's a lot safer. The Maggot Lair is good, has super chests if you are a fire-based sorceress, and not good for anybody else, but still, one of the best places to farm on a fire sorc. A lot of beetles, a lot of density, super chests, super unique at the end. So Harriman the Palace Cellar. Palace Cellar, huge density, a lot of skeletons in there, a little bit sketchfest, but easy to blow up most stuff. You have the definite super unique of Fire Eye at the end. You always want to go from Palace Cellar Waypoint so that you don't come through the Arcane Sanctuary. Coming through the Arcane Sanctuary means you hit Fire Eye, diminishing the chances of getting more elite packs in the area. But Palace Cellar is probably going to get wicked slept on. The reason why it's down in A tier though is because mobility is a huge issue in that area. You kind of either need ridiculous speed or teleport. There's no two ways around it. Ancient's Way, Icy Cellar, already really good to farm Ancient's Way on the way to Icy Cellar. Already high value, definitely difficult to survive in, but good density. Icy Cellar is a small area, you get the champion pack right outside, just high value. Down in B tier is where things start to get hampered by things like mobility and challenge. Bloodmoor and Den of Evil. Bloodmoor is actually really good, very easy to pop the monsters out there. Problem with the Bloodmoor is that half of the maps of the Bloodmoor are huge because they are like the river bridge maps where you have to run through a whole area, cross over a bridge, and then keep running. So like half of the maps of the Bloodmoor are just really, really low quality and you won't know until you're there. Obviously you can go right from Waypoint and Cold Plains, but the setups in Bloodmoor are just not high value. And then Den of Evil, and when it becomes the cave, only spawns with one elite monster, and that's Corpse Fire at the end. It's just hot garbage. Cathedral and Catacombs. Catacombs are good. Other than Durance, probably has like the highest mobility issues in the game. Also has a lot of Isle spawn champ packs. So it's kind of whether or not you get lucky. You probably aren't gonna full clear Catacombs. You're either gonna go from Waypoint just to get to Indariel at the end. Or if you do go from Cathedral, the issue with Cathedral, it has a really, really high variability in monster spawn density. It does have champion fallen packs, it has ghosts, and it has a super unique at the end. Problem being that the super unique at the end doesn't spawn with minions, and he is just very low XP value. And by the time you get to him, you're not gonna really find elite packs after him. Although the benefit of going to the Cathedral is you typically get a boss pack outside of it that actually counts for the inner cloister as opposed to the Cathedral spawn. So again, it's just like a lot of RNG and very difficult mobility issues once you get into the Catacombs. Other than that, pretty high quality place. Durance of Hate. You're not gonna full clear Durance of Hate. Very dangerous, very big area. That being said, when Durance of Hate is terrorized, the Travancore pack in Durance of Hate 3 with Mephisto are going to be super high value targets. So I think if you're just going from Waypoint to Durance of Hate level 3, killing the Travancore packs and then killing Mephisto and then popping his chest, that would bump it up to A tier. It's the rest of Durance of Hate that I think bumps it down to B tier. Harder Steps and Plains of Despair, really good areas, very difficult to kill monsters, a lot of spawners as well as Oblivion Knights and Souls. You do have a Ghost Spawn pack in both of those, so either Souls or the Finger Mages. Good areas, just a little bit difficult to get around. They are wide open, but there are a lot of areas that are like closed off by those weird chasms in them. And a lot of the structures you can also just get stuck in because they only have one entrance and one exit. So I think mobility and challenge brings this down. It would be A tier. Definitely better than Cold Plains, but it's just very challenging. It's a lot of diverse resistances as well, so most builds won't be able to kill everything on the screen. Frigid Highlands B, you're basically only going to kill Eldritch and Sharptooth. I don't think that you actually explore the Frigid Highlands. No matter which direction you come into the Frigid Highlands, you're going to hit a super unique. That's going to reduce how many elite packs you have. On top of that, it's really low density, and it's such a massive area. So I don't think you're actually going to full clear Frigid Highlands unless you are like already on full teleport going for XP. And even then, I don't think it's the best place. Sewers in Act 2 are actually just good. They're, you know, they're more circuitous and less efficient than something like Stony Tomb, but really high density, good monster types, typically easy to kill everything in there. You do get Radamant at the end. I don't think you would ever actually walk over to Radamant other than to kill the monsters in his room one time very quickly. Sewers, typically good value, just very difficult to get around without super high mobility and teleport. Then we get into the C tier. C tier is where I go, you are definitely going to farm these places if they terrorize, but they don't have a lot going for them. So Darkwood and Black Marsh. Darkwood obviously has a super unique that spawns in it. Like the Cold Plains, they actually have, I'd say, even better density than them, but they don't really have anything else that you would go to in that area. Black Marsh doesn't have a definite super unique. Darkwood does. I wouldn't mind moving these two up to B tier. And in fact, I'm gonna do that. Good density, can spawn with Fallen camps. Let's say they're low B tier. I actually feel pretty good about that. All right, Darkwood and Black Marsh are now B tier. Get bent. Glacial Trail. Glacial Trail is fine. Very circuitous, very dangerous monster types depending on what spawns. That being said, good area. Just you need a lot of mobility and you need to be able to survive like pretty dangerous stuff. That's actually why Crystalline Passage and Frozen River gets knocked down. Frozen River, depending on the layout of it, massive zone with a lot of very inefficient routes through it. Same with Crystalline Passage. The monster types are typically very dangerous. You do have Frozenstein at the end of Frozen River, so you will get that really good XP group as well as a super unique to kill. Just generally dangerous, hard to get around. Not my favorite of the Act 5 zones. Then we get into D tier. D tier is where you go, do I go farm these things? And can my build farm these things without dying and making it worthwhile? Other than the F tier, out of all of the Act 3 zones, Spider Forest and Spider Cavern are kind of my least favorite. You have a sparkly chest, but it's a quest chest inside of the Spider Cavern. You also have Cesark. If you teleport on top of Cesark, she's extra strong curse and she spawns with another modifier, 2 more in hell. She'll just one tap you. She's actually really nasty. On top of that, the monster types in Spider Forest kind of suck. There are Thorn Hulks, which are also a little bit harder to kill and really bad for melee characters because they stun and they frenzy. So I think that Spider Forest Spider Cavern is just super low quality, although obviously easy to get to. Lost City, Valley of Snakes, Claw Viper Temple. Claw Viper Temple is a death trap. If you can farm it efficiently, it's a pretty nice area. There's a problem, you need to get to it. So there's only a waypoint in Lost City, and then it's a 1 in 3 chance that the corner that you go to leads to the Claw Viper Temple. Oh, on top of that, Valley of Snakes only has 1 monster, and it's the fire tower outside of the temple. So it's literally not an area that you can farm. Lost City is okay. If you are a cold build, Lost City is like pretty nice unless it spawns with the infidels, I think. And you also get Dark Elder, who's a super unique. Really good for XP. Big open area, you don't need mobility, but you have leapers, you have poison, you have the infidels, which are really fast. So it's actually just kind of dangerous. Cold builds will do all right. A lot of other builds will actually struggle bus. And then the Claw Viper Temple, again, if you can farm there safely, you're gonna be in good hands. You have the super unique at the end in the area. You have a lot of the density in Claw Viper 2 as well, but it's just dangerous. It's just super danger ops. So that's why it jumps down to D. Also, it's just like mathematically very improbable that you can efficiently get to it. Just again, it's a 1 in 3 chance that you get to the right corner that has the exit that leads to Claw Viper. F tier. You just wouldn't farm these spots. Now here's the reason why. You would farm one of these spots, and we'll get to it. Lower Karas sucks. Lower Karas sucks. People asking, well, oh, if you increase the area level, what about the super chests? The item level of the super chests will be affected, but they drop from a set grouping of items. They drop from a set grouping of items. Magic Find doesn't affect it. They will drop the same items that they're always going to drop, regardless of area level. The items will just be higher item level, so good place to get charms still. And now those charms, depending on whether or not you are level 89 or higher, those charms could be, 45 lifers. Not the worst, but there's nothing to kill. Oh, am I blocking the F tier? RIP to me. Monsters in the area really suck, actually pretty dangerous. So I think that lower Kurast is probably, is it the worst? It might be the worst terror zone. Here's the one that's debatable. Kurast Bazaar, Ruined Temple, Disused Feint. Ruined Temple, Disused Feint aren't terrible, especially with Ruined Temple. You get Serena in there. That's actually really nice. Huge pack of monsters in it, but you gotta find them. We're talking about BattleNet here. So you're gonna be teleporting around the Kurast Bazaar, which is a terrible farming zone. Monsters that run away from you in the form of the Zealots. Hierophants aren't worth a lot of experience. They also heal each other. You run into stuff like the big gargantuan monsters out there, or their Thorn Hulks out there. Again, bad for melee. Will just like permanent stun lock you while they get their frenzy charges up, and very, very terrible mobility in the area. Hell, even with teleport, Kurast Bazaar isn't a great place to get through. Ruined Temple is nice, kind of diverse field of resistances, and there are also like strict magic immunes in the form of the actual gargantuans that spawn in there. The spiders run away from you, ghoul lords run away from you, Serena's gonna like mob deep run at you, and has really bad elite spawn generation in it. Disused Feint, also just not great elite spawn quantities in there. You'll have to search every room because they might be tucked up in the corners. The monsters aren't that bad to deal with, but you're going to end up full clearing the area and sometimes only getting like 2 elites. So all in all, I think it's just generally inefficient. I would recommend just going straight to the Ruined Temple and then only killing Serena and by happenstance the other monsters in that room, and then saving and exiting if you are going to farm that terror zone. Ariat Plateau, Frigid Highlands, but strictly worse. Big open area, one super unique, which is Thresh Socket that spawns at the end, and he doesn't spawn with minions. He is a crush beast, so he is worth a good amount of experience himself, but he doesn't spawn with minions. So it's really, you'd be better off just killing random packs on the way. Huge area, not a high density, can spawn a lot of elites, but you need to check every nook and cranny to be able to find them. Just bad. I just would not farm there unless I was forced to by some means. And then lastly, and I think this one's in contention for being the second worst, which actually kind of breaks my heart, the Kurast Sewers. Here's the problem with Kurast Sewers. You need teleport or leap to be able to get through there efficiently in any way, shape, or form. Kurast Sewers are just absolutely literal maze and circuitous routes, just be able to go straight or left or right. There is a sparkly chest in it. The sewers level 2 will often have like 1 to 2 elites in it in a very small area, and then a bunch of super chests, which are nice, but there's no way for you to know how to get there unless you hit the sparkly chest first. Since it's on multiplayer, that's just going to be in a random part of the sewers. So no good way to get around it. A lot of really annoying monster types that kind of clog up the area. Very difficult for physical builds because most of them are undead, so you can't leech off of them. For characters that are running around, you also have the mosquitoes that drain stamina, which is just like, oh, the worst. Yeah, just like a very, very bad area to farm in, and it kind of stinks. But Sewers level 2 is kind of nice. If you can find it, if you can get down to it. You do have a super unique. You have Icewing, Icehawk Riftwing. I think it's Icehawk Riftwing, who's a Gloombat who, if he teleports away, you just can't find him. You just can't find the dude. He like doesn't emit light, and his pack tries to run away from you. Just challenging overall. Not my favorite spot. But yeah, that's my tier list for the terror zones. I think this is like pretty representative. I know a lot of people are going to argue between like S, S+, and A, but just based off of my experiences playing in, you know, mods where they've changed area levels, you know, BT actually made Tristram an area level 85 zone in BT Diablo, and he's thinking about nerfing it. Like, it's like literally too strong. So this is where I would put everything in my own tier list for where you should farm. I hope that helps. I hope the explanations kind of give you a better idea of why to or not farm in certain areas, especially places like Durance of Hate, where it's like going to be really contentious. I think Durance of Hate is probably going to be one of the most contentious areas. It's like, is it garbage? Is it S+? I think it ends up somewhere in the middle, but yeah, hope that helps. Hope you enjoyed that. And thank you for watching this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.